Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of OA News Overtime. I'm Jordan Hill with Justin Lee. Justin.
Jordan, it's been an eventful few days.
What's going on? Why do you say that? What's up? To make this, I think this is very important. We're recording this at 2:19 p.m.
On
Tuesday, November 30th.
I'm going to try to edit this as fast as we can.
Because who knows what's going to happen in the time that it takes to post this and to get this out there.
Right. I'm going to try to do. I usually edit it at home at night because I have to, but I'm going to see if I can call IT and get this thing posted today. But we'll do our best.
We're going to be all over it. There's been a lot to happen across the college football landscape this week, but we're going to stick with Auburn and the big move this week. Offensive coordinator Mike Bobo is out at Auburn. He will be replaced after just one season.
Right.
A big change after, quite frankly, the Auburn offense faltered down the stretch in those last few games, struggled immensely in the second half again and again, and it was a big part of why Auburn ended the year with a 4-game losing streak. Justin, just what did you think when you heard the news about Mike Bobo, and sort of what in your opinion, should Auburn do next?
Well, I mean, just going back to the reaction, I was yelling on Twitter that whole day that they lost the game because of play calling, and I think there it is for you, and I don't know, it's hard for me to, everyone knows someone. If you're an Auburn fan, all of you know your friend who said from the beginning, "Ew, this ain't gonna work," and here you are a year later. Truth is, a lot of people saw this coming. A lot of people saw this coming. I'm not going to sit up here and say, I told you so or whatever, but a lot of people did see this coming. It's not going to work. It's not going to work long term. Not a splash hire, not what we were excited about. And here it is, And he had every opportunity. What you could give him credit for is Bo Nix seemed to take real strides forward this year, but he's not the quarterback's coach. He's offensive coordinator.
Not solely the quarterback's coach.
Right, not solely the quarterback's coach. So, it's you don't like it as an Auburn fan that, Brian Harsin's first year did not go the way he wanted it to, the way anyone wanted it to. And I promise you that goes to athletic director, that goes to school president, that goes to everyone on the board of trustees, everyone on the hiring committee. No one brought him in to go 6-6 and to be building again, starting his offense again, going into next year. There's no way. That's abject failure, right? What you're trying to do is pick up pieces and get this thing going because things have started to shake. You're trying to steady things, and so here's the move. I think he needs to make a splash. I've said it already. Auburn fans should expect a national search. And I think they should not settle for anything less than a national search and the best possible candidate to be hired into the position. Where Brian Harsin goes with that is up to him. But here you are. You're going to year 2 after. It's almost like, well, this will tell you, this year sucked. This was not what anyone wanted, including Brian Harsin, including Mike Bobo. So you're kind of taking it on the chin here and starting again is kind of my first reaction. But what's next? I think a national search for the best possible coach who could come in, change things, light up the offense, maybe do something new, do something exciting. Brian Harsin's a young coach. Think about what. When you think about his strengths, his weaknesses, his advantages and disadvantages, one of the advantages he's supposed to have is to be young, energetic, able to change things, able to make things happen on the fly, not be stuck in his ways. So for him, I say, hey, lean into that strength. Go get you another young coach. Go get you, get you somebody off the wall. So that's what I'd look for. From this decision, but it's another decision that's going to be under the microscope for Brian Harsin.
For sure. And to the point you were just making, I think I was kind of lukewarm on the hire. Waiting to see how it would play out.
Sure.
But I did kind of wonder because, Mike Bobo's heyday really as a coordinator was about a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And sort of to the point you were just making, when you look at a guy like Brian Harsin, still a very young coach, and given his offensive background, what you would really want, what you would really expect is to be innovative on offense, to maybe even change from what you saw at Boise State, to not see the exact same thing. they've got an opportunity now, if they so choose, to go hire a coordinator that can help you kind of take strides toward that and to be different and to change things up a little bit. Because, really this year, I really expected with Mike Bobo and what we heard from Mike before the season, a lot of carries for Tank, play action passing, and then really it wound up being more passing, I feel like, than what we saw of Tank running downhill.
Right.
And part of that, I think you could say, was the fact they couldn't really run block a lot of the time. They had trouble creating room for Tank.
Sure.
I understand why the move was made. I can think about so many post-game press conferences where, Brian Harsin basically just said, like, that's not good enough. The 10 points, the 14, the 17, whatever they put up, that's not good enough. That's not good enough.
Right.
And that falls on the offensive coordinator, which is the name of the game. You know what I mean? As much as, like, for me, you get to see the personal side sometimes with coaches. And for me, when I think about Mike Bobo, I'll always think about after the semifinals game in high school football, his son.
Sure.
I was out there outside the locker room after they lost and just seeing Mike with his son, who is right now is an Auburn commit.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going to happen there. But you got to see kind of that human element. I mean, it was a dad helping his kid after they lost, after his high school career was done. So that part of it, I think that's always important.
Yeah.
Especially right now with the coaching carousel the way it is, and you're like, fire that guy, go hire.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It comes down to winning and losing, and that's why Mike Bobo's not going to be back. But there is that human element of it too.
Sure.
So we don't know how quickly this hire is going to come. We don't know if it's going to be in-house. You got a guy in Eric Keesall that called plays for Brian.
You do, don't you?
You do. That seems if they stay in-house, that's the most logical decision.
Yeah.
If you stay in-house.
If Brian goes the route of doubling down on Boise State.
Yes.
Trying to make Auburn more like Boise State. That's what he does.
So we don't know, what's going to happen, a timetable. We haven't talked to Brian Harsin. I doubt we will until the bowl. We won't talk until the bowl is announced, and I don't know how much he's going to want to say.
Yeah, no.
But I think it's going to be a very interesting stretch because they could go a number of ways. And as we've posted on the website, there's a number of candidates that have ties to Auburn, and there's a few guys that have ties to Brian Harsin that you think would make sense. But it's hard to say what's going to happen. But to make this move, I think also points to the fact that Brian understands that just as an SEC coach, you're living on borrowed time.
Yes.
As much respect as they were talking about with Mike Bobo, they knew that if they had results like this next year, there might be more changes coming past just the offensive coordinator.
Probably so.
So, I mean, that's just sort of the nature of what this situation is.
Right. You can't daisy chain two of these years together.
No.
I go ahead and tell you that.
So unless you're renting and not buying in Lee County, probably not.
Right. So so they've got to go with something, and I don't know, man, and we don't know how fast it'll be, but this is going to be a pretty hectic couple of weeks going into signing day December 15th. It's and obviously you've seen a lot of these commits come out already and say, hey, we're committed to the university, not the coaches. Of course, you'd still think maybe they're endangered. I'm sure they're getting calls from other.
I was going to say there will at least be coaches checking in on them from other schools,
including at Florida and LSU, who have coaches now.
Yes.
Who didn't have it a minute ago. But yeah, man, I think it's a matter of you got to go get your best. He's got two ways of going, and one is if he thinks he knows all the answers and he decides to make Boise East and tries to go that route, he can certainly try. He'll be doubling down with not just his own money, Auburn's money as well, and there's going to be people watching that money. But the other route, is to try to make a national search, go find the best and brightest that he can find. And I mean, we'll see. Here's another crossroads, for Auburn football, and another crossroads for Brian Harsin. So we'll see what choices he makes here.
So the other big news from the last couple days came earlier today, Tuesday. You got a few players that have decided to enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Sean Shivers, a running back, Elijah Canyon, a wide receiver.
Sure.
Caleb Johnson, an edge rusher, and then Tashawn Manning, an offensive guard, have all entered the portal.
Sure.
Tashawn Manning and Sean Chivers were both seniors, but they're looking to use that extra year of eligibility because of
Hopefully
COVID.
they're graduating. We don't know. We don't know the status of a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
We know Black Bo's graduating because he said it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're getting their degrees this December.
Yes.
Sure hope so. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like you're kind of saying. I mean, I think all these guys, none of them were starters, quote unquote. Worm obviously saw the field. Obviously, every Auburn fan's gonna miss him for sentimental reasons alone.
That picture is going to be from the Iron Bowl in 2019 is going to be hanging in a lot of restaurants and a lot of stores in this area for years to come.
And hopefully Worm can still come on back and see all those. You know what I mean?
I think so. I think he'd be welcome.
I think so too. But is it a surprise that some of these guys, like Tashawn Manning, he saw the field occasionally, but wasn't.
Yeah. He started the last 3 games, but it was because of injury. He wasn't a starter.
He wasn't ahead in the pecking order.
Yes.
Right. So all these guys were behind in the pecking order and are probably looking for another opportunity. So we'll see what happens with those. But for none of them, I don't think it's a surprise. Was it a surprise to you?
No. I wasn't really surprised. Caleb Johnson's a guy that hadn't seen the field for a few weeks, and at one point I asked Brian Harsin about his status and Romello Height, and he was basically like, we'll see in a few weeks. Like he was very – so it kind of seemed like Caleb was probably on his way out.
Sure.
Elijah was pretty obvious because he couldn't get in that receiving rotation, and there were times that Brian was asked specifically about, like, is Elijah healthy? And he was like, yeah, he's good to go. And it's like, well, if he's not able to break through in a receiving core that on the whole struggled.
Right.
And he was just a sophomore this year, so I can't blame a kid for saying, all right, I need to try to go somewhere else. So, none of them were very surprising. It's going to be very interesting, that they should still have a running back depth with, like, Damari Alston coming in, and he'll be a true freshman. And, as long as you can keep Tank and you can keep, Jarquez Hunter, you need those guys, and, you should be okay. But that was a very experienced guy that, it seemed like kind of, with Sean Chivers, he kind of found a little bit of footing in the passing game, but it didn't really amount to a lot.
No.
I mean, he was the leading receiver in the A&M game where they couldn't get anything going.
Right. He was pretty critical at LSU.
Yes.
Several third down conversions. We never saw that against Alabama. But yeah, tough. Hey man, everyone go watch that Xavier McKinney play one more time. And just enjoy it. Because Worm, I mean, he made himself an Iron Bowl legend on that day when he bowled over Xavier McKinney. So. Parting is such sweet sorrow, Jordan.
Well, I want to say, too, and you hit on it a second ago, there were a few people on Twitter, I don't think the majority, but I did see a few people that were like, oh, my, here we go.
Yeah, no.
This isn't that big a deal. This was going to happen no matter what, and if you've been paying attention just to other teams, like, this is just going to be the nature of things. Now, if certain guys you see in the next few weeks decide to transfer, that's an opportunity to go, whoa,
why?
But a receiver that hardly played, your third string running back, and a backup offensive lineman, and a defensive lineman that wasn't really with the team the last 5 or 6 games.
Right.
Not the biggest.
If Auburn had finished the season 9-3, these same people would be saying, "Oh, see you, bye, we're doing great, we're rocking
iron sharpens iron, and you can't make the cut."
But since you're 6-6, the sky's falling. You know. Maybe it is, but this
not yet. Not yet. It's not. Well, we mentioned Bo a few minutes ago, and I want to make sure and talk about Bo. On Monday, he was asked, basically there's rumors out there. Do you want to kind of quell them and say you're coming back to Auburn? Well, very non-committal.
No.
Very non-committal.
Right. Well, hey, and someone asked me, it's like, and it's tough for Auburn fans because Bo's a guy who loves Auburn, and they're, they take it personal when it's like, wow, I mean, Bo Nix really leave Auburn? Like he loves Auburn, like I love Auburn, but I think he's protecting himself. I think because 2 days later, guess what? His offensive coordinator got fired. Right?
Yes.
Like he doesn't know. Spencer Rattler's in the transfer portal.
Yes.
He might come here.
Yes.
That UCF guy might come here.
Dylan Gabriel.
Right. Brian Harsin could decide to, fire Bo, replace Bo. So he's got to protect himself and keep his options open. We don't have any insight.
Nope.
I don't know what Bo's thinking.
Patrick Nix won't tell us when we're in Birmingham for the state championship game. I want to make sure and read the quote because Bo was asked about next year. And Bo said, I've graduated in 3 years. That was my goal coming in, so Auburn is definitely my school. I think it will always be my school. But obviously right now I'm just trying to get healthy. I'm not sure what next year looks like.
Right.
I've got to get my ankle better first, got to make sure I can play and get back to my normal self, and then obviously I'll graduate, get through the bowl game. So very, leaving the window open.
Sounds like he wants to be at the bowl game, even though he won't play.
But I think you're right and I think any player at this point needs to keep their options open, just because, especially with Bo's situation, he was not recruited by Brian Harsin.
Right.
He will be working with he would be, if he comes back, his fourth different offensive coordinator in 4 years. Can you name them all, Justin?
Kenny Dillingham.
Yes.
Chad Morris.
Yes.
Mike Bobo.
And then whoever would replace Mike if Bo comes
unless back. Kenny Dillingham comes back.
I mean, And I think Chad's got his high school gig in Texas. So
who else had 4 offensive coordinators in 4 seasons?
Was it Jason Campbell?
Jason Campbell. Mm-hmm. And then he went to the NFL and did the same thing. He had like 7 coordinators in 8 seasons.
Yeah, when you coach in Washington, when you play in Washington, it doesn't go very well. Yeah. So, I understand Bo saying that. I will say it did raise my eyebrows because I figured he would just give kind of the coach talk of like, we're getting ready for next year. But I don't blame a kid for leaving the window open.
Protect yourself.
And the thing, too, is that say he does enter the portal, he could still come back.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity. If you go in the portal, you can come back. So, we'll obviously talk about it if that were to happen.
Right.
But it doesn't mean signed, sealed, delivered, he's gone somewhere else.
Right. And obviously there are people have the portal logins and they're watching that stuff and he's not in there yet. So, and what that does is it allows other schools to talk to him without breaking the rules.
Yes.
So, but I mean, hey man, maybe something happened. Maybe he's just trying to fire up that I'm coming back graphic.
It could be. Be watching the Instagram. I've got my Instagram notifications. I got the notifications ready in case he does or if Anders Carlson says anything.
Yeah. Hopefully Bo does what's best for Bo.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing to me, like especially as someone who's watched all the kids, not just Bo or anyone else, any of the players. Mm-hmm. You see what they go through. You see the stuff they have to deal with on a daily basis. And it's not Auburn specific. You know, my alma mater, people are mad at Stetson Bennett for winning. I keep seeing people, being like, they need to play JT Daniels.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm all for if he finds an opportunity that winds up working out better for him, you can't blame a kid like that.
Well, listen, and this college football landscape is not what you grew up with, dear listener.
No.
Or I.
No.
Or you.
No.
This is insane.
Leather helmets are no more.
Well, we were just talking about it. This coaching search this year.
Oh, my God.
I think Cole Kublik tweeted it. 7 of the top 19 winningest programs all had a coaching change this year.
And several of those instigated by the head coach.
Yeah.
Going to new jobs.
Right. Insane contracts, 10 years. $95 million, you're looking at a $80 million buyout on a guy. It's nuts. Everything's crazy right now. And the portal, that's the new, that's it too. You got somebody like Spencer Rattler, in the transfer portal. I mean, who was like coming in the season, he's supposed to be the number 1 NIL.
Like a Heisman frontrunner before the coveted August Heisman leader.
Right. That matters so much.
We miss you, Kenny Hill.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So of course he has to protect himself. So if you're worried about Bo or deflated, that would be the main thing I would think of is he has to protect himself.
Yes.
Because he doesn't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Nope.
Spencer Rattler could walk in here and it's like, well, bye. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know.
No.
You don't know.
Going from what we don't know, Justin, to what we do know.
Hey.
Auburn men's basketball coming off a nice stretch of play down at the Battle for Atlantis, 2-1 record.
There you go.
Started off with that double overtime loss to UConn. It's just an overtime kind of week for Auburn athletics there. But they bounced back and played well against Loyola Chicago, played well against Syracuse, and a very interesting game with Mr. Boeheim and the Orange.
Sure.
What did you sort of take away from what we saw with the guys playing down in the Bahamas, and how important the next stretch is going to be as they come back home? We're recording on Tuesday, so they'll be back home Wednesday night against UCF.
Well, I said it on Twitter, that UConn game, we all were 10 years older after it. We all had gray hairs after watching that game. But for a player like Jabari Smith, and even for, Katie Johnson and guys who are trying to gel with their teammates, that's a great experience. And for Jabari specifically, here's a guy who's just getting his first college experience. That's a great experience. It feels like a tournament atmosphere, playing a good quality opponent. UConn might be pretty good. We'll see.
Definitely the best team so far this season that Auburn's played.
Sure. So to go to battle like that, to trail and come back, to lead and lose it and go to overtime and all those things, you learn a lot and you grow up with a game like that. And now, Jabari has that experience. So I think specifically for him, that was a big one, that UConn game. And then the other point was Katie Johnson, really, had a showing out. And I think the difference maker, is what I call him from that. He showed he can be a difference maker. So, honestly, just from that UConn game was the first game.
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, man, they got what they needed right there at the beginning. They got what they went down there for. And then they got 2 wins off of that. I said after that first game, hey, the rest of this trip is gravy. Then we got 2 wins. So there you go. All in all, a really successful trip, I would say.
Yeah, a lot to be impressed by. Katie Johnson was all over the place. Walker Kessler had a couple double-doubles in 3 games, which is pretty impressive. But I want to talk about Jabari just real quick.
Sure.
You hit on the big points. But for him to get tested early on, and as you saw the graphic that they showed about 8 million times, he's the third best prospect going into next year's draft.
Did you know he's the highest rated signee in the history of Auburn basketball?
Oh, my. I'm glad I was sitting down for that, Justin. I was not aware.
Did you know Bo Nix dad played at football?
Wow.
I played at Auburn.
Wow.
Incredible.
I'm learning a lot on the podcast.
Yeah,
hopefully
man.
Our listeners and viewers are too.
Yeah.
The thing that I was very impressed with, he played well throughout the tournament, and
Sure.
he wound up being named SEC Freshman of the Week. But
Hey.
The Loyola Chicago game, when it got kind of tight near the end, he got in a rhythm where he was just hitting turnaround jumpers. It looked like it reminded me of like NBA Jam. Like I was waiting for him to catch on fire after a while, because he got in a rhythm. And for a guy that's got the kind of expectations he has, and the things that we've heard about him, and again, to the point that he's the highest rated signee, you want your guy making those plays. And I thought that was very impressive. That was against a Loyola team that could very well be in the tournament again when we get to March. And
was that on Thursday? What day was that?
Yeah, that was Thanksgiving, because I was like, if this game goes to overtime too, I'm going to lose my mind. But it didn't.
I guess I didn't watch any of that game.
But it was good. But again, to the point that to get him tested early on, I think is very valuable, because before too long they're going to be in some very, very important games.
Yes.
Get into conference play. So
yeah.
give him some of those tests early on, and to me, he passed it, and the majority of the players around him did very well.
Right.
Again, when Bruce Pearl, after the UConn loss, basically said, we want to win the tournament. If we don't, we at least want to win 2 games. They went 2-1, and they finished strong, and I thought they showed a lot of good things out of that.
And that's Bruce's philosophy that's been tried and true for a while, is he wants to be, he'll say it himself, punched in the mouth. He wants to be tested. He wants to be exposed. One of his favorite words with these tests. So, even with a loss, it's not quite like football where, every loss is you're gnashing your teeth over. In basketball, Bruce will take a double overtime loss to UConn. That's what he wanted to get. He wanted to put his team in that situation. So now it's a matter of what you do with it. That's where the real victory comes, Jordan.
Wow, that was special. So we'll start with that UCF game on Wednesday night and have a lot of content off of that. We're going to take a quick break, then we're going to come back with a game with our intern Jake Weiss.
Jake, get in here! He's here. He's already here.
We are back with our favorite sports intern, Jake Weiss. Jake, how was your Thanksgiving break?
It was good. Hope everyone, for the third time, hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving.
Fourth time.
Fourth time.
You
there we go.
You said that, and then we said it the next episode, and then we said it the next episode.
Well, 4 times.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. What'd you do? Are you privy to dox yourself and let us know what you did?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
What's the worst that could happen?
Sure. I went home back to Texas. That's where my family's from.
Yeehaw.
So we all got together.
Yeah.
We all got together on the day of Thanksgiving. Had some turkey, had some mashed potatoes, all the good stuff you'd have on Thanksgiving, and had a good time. We went to the Cowboys game. Forgot Daniel. Sorry, Daniel Carlson is on the Raiders. Cowboys and Raiders played. Daniel had a big game.
Wow.
It was a fun time.
Wow. You got to see Daniel kick a game-winning overtime field goal.
I did. He missed it second time, though. He took it 3 tries. You go back and watch it. Did you watch the game?
I missed the game.
No.
What, were they icing him or something?
No,
Flag
on the first one. He made the first one, moved him back 5 yards. Second one he missed, but Cowboys bailed him out. And
that was another flag. So they moved the ball back 5 yards.
No, this one was actually on the Cowboys, so they moved it
up 5 yards.
Up 5 yards. So then he kicked it from the original spot. Game winner. Got that hilarious video of him eating the turkey leg.
That was your Avi for a minute.
Yeah,
Is it still?
No, I took it down.
That was just a holiday thing.
It was.
It was just festive. Jake, what do you think about this coaching carousel? What's going on,
It's
man?
nuts, right?
Tell us.
Oh yeah, it was so. I usually check my Twitter every couple minutes, and actually longer than that. Every couple 10, 15 minutes.
Sure.
Now I'm just checking all the time because it's like, what's gonna happen next?
Brian Kelly at LSU, is it gonna work? No, it's not.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird fit, isn't it?
I don't think it's going to work.
What a weird fit.
You know, this coaching carousel has been so unexpected that, I'm like, where's all this stuff coming from? Like you could get it from like the
Right.
NCAA dynasty.
Brian Kelly to LSU is the worst fit. Someone said that Brian Kelly looks like he thinks Sprite is spicy.
Yes.
So how is he going to eat all that Cajun food?
It's not going to go well.
I've seen some jokes about that.
All right.
But what is going to go well is this game that I made up. So I went with the little like Facebook thing you see where it's like, this number means you're this and all
Right.
that stuff. But this is going to be how we fill the rest of these coaching
If you're
jobs.
the first letter of your name and your
yes.
last name is
So we
what?
got a list of coaches we keep hearing about in the carousel.
Who's on the list? Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin. I'm going to read all of them. Bob Stoops, Mike Leach, some of the usual suspects.
Okay.
All the jobs that are still open, and there's a surprise NFL one on there. And then how much money these guys are going to be making. So, Jake, we're going to start with you.
Oh, God.
All right, so what was the first letter of the street that you grew up on?
Don't say the full street.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. M.
So, M, we're looking at Brian Harson.
Yikes.
All right, so what is the last number of the year you were born?
The last number? Yes. 9.
Okay, so Brian Harson's looking at the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. They need a coach
To replace Billy Napier.
to replace Billy Napier.
Don't make money.
Scared money don't make money.
That's what he says.
The number of letters in your last name, Weiss. How many letters is that?
By my count, it's 5.
There we go.
So, you heard it here first on the OA News Overtime Podcast. According to Jake Weiss,
Yeah.
Brian Harson will be the next head coach of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns to be paid $1.5 million a year. That's a bit of a
little bit of a downgrade.
bit of a pay cut.
It fits the Louisiana though.
Yeah,
it's probably about what they're
1.5.
paying.
That's probably what they were paying old Billy.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right,
see.
so we're going to go to Justin Lee. So
Bring
what's
it
the
on.
first letter of the street you grew up on?
W.
W. We got
And it was in Wetumpka too.
oh,
How about that?
wow. Josh Heupel, Tennessee's coach. There's been a lot of rumors about him.
There
He
has
played
been.
Played at Oklahoma.
Can you imagine if they left? If he left? Can you imagine?
Well, we're about to. That's what
that's
this
true.
game is.
We're about to imagine.
So the last number of the year you were born in was
91.
91. Well, looks like Josh Heupel is headed to Philly. Temple Owls need a coach.
All right.
Josh
Heupel.
Heupel
All right.
must really like Philadelphia.
That's his dream
big,
job.
Big Liberty. I mean,
Just like
he grew
Lane, going to USC.
Yes, it's comparable. Definitely comparable. Josh Heupel, famously like from the Dakotas, I think, or Wyoming, but he's a big Philadelphia guy.
Sure.
All right, the number of letters in your last name. William.
3.
Now, I went to Georgia, and I can't count very high, but I can get to 3.
I think it's 3.
3. So Josh Heupel, as Justin Lee is reporting from the
Sure.
OA News Overtime
Sure.
podcast, Josh Heupel is going to be the new head coach of Temple Owls. He's going to be paid $1.5 million.
Wow.
Wow.
How about that?
Look at that.
We got 3, 4, and 5 here.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
All right.
It's pretty nice.
All right, let's do the 4, Jordan.
Okay, so for me, the first letter of the street that I grew up on is an S. So Tom Herman. I don't know if you remember that.
Hey.
Old Texas coach.
Chicago
cool.
Bears.
Special projects manager or something.
He was on our list of potential candidates.
Yeah,
if you check it out on
coordinator.
ONL.com. Yeah.
But we're getting him a head coaching job.
Yeah, here we go. Where are we going to
So the last number of the year that I was born in was for Florida International Panthers.
Oh, children.
Tom Herman is going to be headed to Miami to coach Florida International.
All right.
And the number of letters in my last name, that would be 4. And wow, he's getting some good Miami money. Jordan Hill is reporting that Tom Herman will be the new head coach of Florida International Panthers, being paid $8 million a year.
$8 million.
Okay, cool, hook 'em.
But is he 56 years old?
That's the real question.
It's another question for another day.
Benedict Endo, you get it. You get it. Well, yeah, so that's the game, and I'll be sure and post that. I will say I didn't realize it did 1.5 million.
Oh, yeah.
We both hit that.
You might
mix that
adjust.
up. I'll mix that up a little bit.
I'm glad you didn't go with the first letter of our first name, because we all would have had the same coach.
Yeah.
What would it be? Who is it?
So J would have been John Gruden. Whew.
Excellent.
3 John Grudens in a row. Is that
Sheesh.
Okay, so where we are, S.
Okay.
Our road is S.
S was Tom Herman, remember?
Oh, wait. Okay, what's the second one? What's the school?
The school would be...
How does the game work?
So it's the first letter of the street you grew up on, the last number of the year you were born.
Oh, okay, so we need a number.
Yeah.
Okay. Do 2.
So we'd go in Tom Herman with the street?
No, the other one. What did we just say? John Gruden. John Gruden. 2.
The Las Vegas Raiders. They hired him back.
What? That's on there?
Yeah. That was the NFL job. That's the only NFL. That's
going to be?
the only NFL job that's open.
Oh, I thought the NFL one was. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. And the number of letters in the last name. Well, I mean, the last name would be News, so that'd be 4.
News. That'd
so
be
you'd be
4.
making 1.5 million.
1.5 million.
I think that
We're all making 1.5 million.
You heard it here first, folks. Well, yeah, that's the game, and I'll make sure and post that on Twitter, and people can play along and see what they get. May mix up a few of those answers, but we're going to get out of there on that. Appreciate intern Jake Weiss for popping on here with us.
I'm going to try to post this as soon as I can.
Yes, Justin Lee, thanks for doing the podcast. Everybody be looking out for more content. We'll have basketball. We'll have gymnastics. We'll have high school football state championships.
Busy week. Yeah.
Busy week with a lot of probably more reporting on coaches and potential transfer portal news.
Women's basketball tonight, men's basketball tomorrow, high school football championships tomorrow. Central is in the final, 7A final, and Smith Station girls flag football. In the flag football final, me and Jordan will be there.
Yes.
And then we're in the middle of a coaching search. So, and let it drop us a line. You know, if you want to, we're probably going to podcast more. Whenever an OC's hired, we'll probably podcast. So, yeah, man, be part of it. Let us know what you think and what you want us to talk about, and we'll do it. So, support your small content creators.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get out of here on that from all of us. Thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.